There's something like having aggressively bare skin and not doing your eyebrows that feels so much like summer to me. I mean, it's cool if you do all of those things, like wear makeup and do your eyebrows, but for me, I like being hairy and sun-kissed and without makeup. I think it's really nice. So I guess I'm a monthly YouTuber now. I only really make videos every month. I've come to this point in my YouTube life, and I've come to this point many times, but this time it feels permanent, where I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I should be creating. I don't know what makes me happy, necessarily, but I know that YouTube makes me happy. So it's an interesting quandary to be in. I filmed a bunch of stuff that I uploaded and took down. I filmed a sketchbook tour, which if you guys want to see that, I definitely can put that up, but I'm going to focus most of my art attention on an Instagram page I created called Art by Emma Tobias that I'm pretty proud of, so if you guys want to go follow that, that would be super rad. I made a couple of reading vlogs that I wasn't super happy with. I think it's one of those things where I enjoy those videos so much from other people, and then I'll watch videos that I've made, and I'll just think, like, I wouldn't watch this. I don't know. I feel like I'm constantly looking for validation, but that's what YouTube is now, isn't it? For most people, for a lot of people. Anyway, though, I wanted to film a video. I'm about to head to London for a month. I'm going to hopefully hang out with Zoe, and that's going to be super fun, and hang out with Emma from Drinking by My Shelf, and really have a nice time, and go to bookshops, and make art, and enjoy London in the summer. But before I leave, I wanted to film a couple videos, and we'll see if I post them. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about 4 books I've read recently. I have read 12 books this year, which I'm fairly happy with. Grad school's been stressful, and the fact that I've read it all makes me happy. I'm always reading, it just takes me a lot longer to finish things. 2 of these books I really love, 2 of these books I didn't really love, and that's why I wanted to do this. Back in the day, I used to do these reviews where I would do like a book that I really liked and a book I didn't like. So that's what I'm going to do. So, let's get into it. The first 2 books I want to talk about are the books I didn't really like this month that I wanted to discuss. I didn't hate either one of these books, but I like really balanced reviews, so that's kind of why I decided to do it this way. The first book is The Madeline Project by Claire Boudreau. This was translated by Alison Anderson, and it is a French translated book, or a book translated from French, and basically it is a nonfiction book about a woman who moves into a new apartment in Paris and finds this attic full of the past tenant who has recently passed away's stuff. The woman who used to live there was named Madeline, and it is an attic full of about 100 years of life. This book is told in tweets, and it actually started off as Claire Boudreau's, I'm probably butchering her name's, project that she did on Twitter called the Madeline Project, and I guess a publisher thought it was interesting and picked it up and put those tweets in book form. I think this is a really sweet idea, but I didn't actually enjoy reading it. I think through tweets it wasn't even that interesting. Meaning if I saw it on Twitter, I don't think I would be that compelled to look at it. I don't know what I expected. I thought there'd be some kind of grand journey, like an Amelie moment, which is maybe just like being stereotypical about French people. Actually, absolutely is. But I kind of expected it to be more like that. It was pitched to me as sort of like Amelie by a bookseller. But there are a lot of things that didn't work. For example, there are videos in this book that you can't obviously watch. I would say if you're interested in this tweets in this project of this woman going through another woman's life, I would check out the Twitter. I'm sure it's still there somewhere. But for me, it just didn't really work. Next, another book that wasn't for me, but I don't think is necessarily bad, is Dodie Secrets from the Mad, Obsessions, Confessions, and Life Lessons. Dodie Clark and I are almost the exact same age. I feel her on so many things, and in this book I felt her on a lot of stuff. This is her sort of pseudo book of essays / memoir. She talks a lot about mental health. She talks a lot about derealization, which is something that I experience, and not something that a lot of people write about, which I really appreciated. So there are a lot of things in this book that I think that really work, but I think the main flaw in this book that doesn't happen in her songwriting is she has a problem with grounding a lot of what she's talking about in detail, and grounding a lot of what she's talking about in experiences. Meaning there are things that she's internally experiencing that she's not necessarily talking about through external experiences. So you go through her mind, which makes sense, because this book is about her mind, but it was hard for me to always connect with what was going on. And I'm not saying any of those things aren't valid. I think that the story, not the story, but her experiences and what she is sharing would have felt, for me at least, more powerful if she had grounded it in more external experiences and less just kind of internal thoughts. Because I think those two work together, the book would have been pitch perfect. But I also think this book is really great for people who are struggling with that stuff continually, and I can struggle with it, but I'm at a point now where I don't necessarily need a book like this, although I do appreciate it. Okay, now for the last two books I want to talk about that I really loved that I read recently. And this doesn't count other books I read, like Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kane, which is a book about with a main character who is black and asexual, which I really, really loved, and Panromantic, which is a great representation from what I understand, and also was a super duper sweet book. I really like that book, and I also read, I reread Dance Upon the Air by Nora Roberts, which I kind of want to do a whole video of that because I'm rereading that series and I have lots of thoughts. It's a romance series from the early 2000s about witches, which is super fun. But anyway, so The Bells by Danielle Clayton. This is a YA book about a world in which beauty is incredibly important. It's sort of like Marie Antoinette meets like real life, I guess, like modern day life. It's a really interesting setting that I'm not describing well. Basically, the book follows a girl who is a belle. The belles are a set of girls who grow up being touched by this goddess and having the ability to make people beautiful, sort of by magical plastic surgery, although again, I'm kind of butchering that concept. This book deals with so much with standards of beauty, with class and race, with friendship between women, with competition, with the brutal parts of the beauty industry. There's so much going on in this book, and I would really, really encourage you to check out Own Voice's reviews, specifically from Black reviewers, something that Danielle Clayton has been passionate about talking about, and something that I want to definitely boost this video, although I don't really know how much my voice will do that, but definitely check out reviews by Black reviewers about this book, because this book does deal a lot with race and, from what I understand, implications of slavery and all of that, so please check those reviews out. I really like this book. It deals with so much, and it has a package that is really, really exciting, and the plot is exciting. The world building is fantastic. I loved it. It was an A+ YA book, and I really, really liked it. Finally, I read Something New by Lucy Nicely. I read a bunch of books together when I did kind of a day of reading. I actually filmed that and never posted it. Another video that I filmed, never posted it. But Something New is Lucy Nicely's, well, she has a new graphic novel coming out called Kid Gloves about her being pregnant. But this graphic memoir, because Lucy Nicely is a graphic memoirist, about her wedding and her engagement and all of that. I loved this book. It's a thick book, but it's totally worth every second. She talks a lot about being a queer woman, being a bisexual woman, marrying a man, and all of those stupid implications that people put upon you when you marry a man and you identify as bisexual or queer, or any other identification that involves more than one gender. On top of Lucy Nicely discussing being bisexual in a relation while marrying a man and being with a man, a cis man in this case, she also talks a lot about sort of the patriarchal implications of marriage and the history of marriage and all that crap you have to deal with and how you navigate that in 2016. And then on top of that, she also talks about like the expectations of her mother, of her friends, of her family, of herself, and making sure that she's doing this for herself and for her partner, and making it about them and the love they have, and then the love they have for their friends and family, which I think is really beautiful. This book is hella romantic, and I just fell in love with Lucy Nicely's work all over again when I read this. Also, she's a huge inspiration when it comes to her art and her style of drawing. Big, big fan. So those are two books that I really loved and two books that didn't super work for me that I've read recently. I want to make sure that I make videos a priority. It does make me happy. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time, and I'm confused, and I get so in my head about it, but I really love doing this. I've been doing it since 2012, and it matters to me. But sometimes it'll be goofy, and then sometimes it'll be serious, and I have to accept that, and I have to accept that not everybody's going to want to watch it, or like it, or care, which is sort of like, obviously a thing you have to accept, but sometimes can be hard when you're an artist person kind of lady person. I don't know. Anyway, as Demi Lovato said, this is me. That was a Camp Rock reference, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, bye guys.